eagerly awaiting the arrival of the vaccines in the Philippines, yet there are still many of us who also have questions and apprehensions. It seems a majority of Pinoys are not that convinced yet about taking the vaccine. That's precisely why we're all here today, to hear from the Manila City government, who has one of the most carefully planned vaccination campaigns in the Philippines. Now, I don't want to delay it any further. Our special speaker for today is the person responsible for a citywide vaccination simulation that was held just last month. With his team, he secured vaccination storage facilities, came up with vaccine deployment plans, and launched an aggressive information campaign. I'm talking about Manila City Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso. He will be telling us more about his city's COVID-19 vaccination plans. Mayor Isko, the screen is now yours, sir.
Hi, thank you, James. Welcome to our humble office here in City Hall. I'm with Dr. Pox Pangan also, the head of the Manila Health Department. Sa ating mga TikTokers sa buong Pilipinas at sa buong mundo, lalo na yung ating mga OFW at immigrants that interested on what's happening in our country. As you all know, tama po si James that a lot of people are asking some facts, and I hope sa inyong mga manonood ngayon ay magtanong kayo kay James at nandito si Dr. Pox Pangan para makatulong naman kami na kayo maliwanagan. And I'm grateful to TikTok Philippines. Thank you very much for this opportunity for us to help and communicate some messages that are very important, particularly in the minds and hearts of our people. Ngayon po mga kababayan, before we continue, would like to put it on record that sa ngayon po meron pa rin ng impeksyon sa Manila, ha? Oo, mag-iingat pa rin tayo. As of today, we have 395 or 66 new cases in our city, and there's still about 51 who recovered, and I'm grateful to God that wala pong sumakabilang buhay ngayon. Salamat sa Diyos at nakararaos tayo at nasa comfortable level pa rin po ang ating occupancy rate sa ating 6 na ospital, 23%, at sa ating mga quarantine na facilities, may mga laman po yan as you can see in your screen, at saka yung iba pa nating quarantine facilities, lalo na yung naghihintay ng mga resulta, which is isa lang out of 14 quarantine facilities in our city, maganda-ganda naman po yung numero. But be that as it may, this is a pandemic situation, and napaka-traidor ng COVID-19 because you'll never know who has it, because marami sa atin ay asymptomatic, no? Kaya patuloy pa rin ang libreng testing sa Manila, swab testing, at may drive-to pa rin tayo for non-Manilans sa Grandstand. At ang Maynila, katulad na nabanggit ni James kanina, ay may mga paglulunsad na ginawa. Katulad, halimbawa, kung kayo manunod, hindi pa kayo nakarehistro, noong December 31, naglunsad tayo ng ating yung tawag na roadmap to vaccination. At ang unang-una natin nulunsad ay itong ManilaCovid19vaccine.com. As of now, we have about 89,195 ang nagpa-pre-register na. Next, pumirma tayo sa AstraZeneca, at ang Maynila, katulad ng ibang syudad sa buong Pilipinas, ay bumili ng what you call pumirma ng agreement, yung advanced marketing commitment. And recently, a few days ago, we already paid in the initial payment with our 800,000 doses sa AstraZeneca. Nirelease na natin yung 38 million pesos para talagang fully and firm order. We call it the firm order. Tapos, nung Enero din, halos Pebrero, ginawa natin itong the first in the country owned by local government unit na storage facility. At itong storage facility ay yung what you call, James, yung cold chain in preparation of the incoming vaccine. And we have about 12 biomedical refrigeration system that will cater and can cater sa lahat ng uri ng bakunang darating, katulad ng pinakamahirap, which is yung Pfizer. Meron tayong negative 86, Meron tayo negative 10, negative 25, negative 30, plus 2, and plus 8. Na kaya natin, across the board, na mag-handle ng about 700 to 900,000 vaccine in any given time. And we will offer this, James, sa ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Kahit na hindi lang sa taga Maynila. Halimbawa, yung ibang ospital na kailangan magkaroon ng storage, we will make it available because this is a universal problem. It has to be approached inclusively. So, yan po mga kababayan. At ang good news, James, bago tayo nag-live sa TikTok, share na natin sa mga kabataan. Tatlo na po ang naaprubahan ng FDA, no? Una, yung Pfizer na pabalita na, sumunod AstraZeneca. A few minutes ago, naaprubahan na yung Sinovac na galing sa China. So, tatlo na ang choices ng ating bansa. Hindi lang natin alam kung ano yung unang darating. But that is what we call welcome development. Because any vaccine, I believe in a principle of temperature. No? Anything above 0 is positive. Kasi talagang mahirap ang sitwasyon. Gusto natin magbuka ng ekonomiya, maging komportable panatag ang tao, at sila ay makapaghanap buhay. At ang mga negosyo, sana unti-unti makabangon so that they can create more jobs and opportunity for everyone. So sa mga kababayan natin, please register manilacovid19vaccine.com, and if you're not doing anything, stay tuned with our TikTok with James Dick. Stay tuned kasi baka may mga katanungan kayo, i-entertain yan ni James mamaya. At kung kaya ko sagutin, sasagutin ko. Pero nandito rin si Dr. Pox Pangan, ang ating medical director, Manila director ng Manila Health Department.
No relation to Jet Pangan, of course, but we'd just like to remind you that we will take your questions. As sabi ni Mayor, we'll accept all your questions on TikTok Live. We want to hear from you. It's very important that you are part of this because this is a community effort, like Mayor said. And just to recap, thank you also to TikTok because we reach a whole new audience with TikTok. It's a different demographic, and we want to reach as many people as possible and spread the information that you need to have to make a educated decision. This is your health, this is your life, and I think you were quoted as saying people of Manila can be choosy. You said that because
dahil maraming available, at kung ano yung available na dumating, kung type nila, pwede silang maghintay. Kung pwede silang magpabakuna, kung di nila type, pwede silang maghintay. So lahat igagalang natin ang pananaw kasi yung pangamba ng utaw is my outmost, kumbaga, yun yung talagang concern natin. Yung, I want you to feel safe. Yun man lang maibigay ko sa iyo yung kapanatagan.
So there you go. A lot of apprehension. I'm sure a lot of people are vaccination strategies in place. So Dr. Pangan, I understand you've already conducted simulations for this. Perhaps you'd like to share some of that valuable information because I was very encouraged by it, especially the success rate that you've had.
Yes,
The floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon po sa lahat ng mga TikTokers. Let me just give you a brief general information about the vaccination. Right? A vaccine or immunization is a way to build your body's natural immunity to a disease. It mimics the virus or the bacteria that causes the disease and then eventually triggering an immune response, producing your antibodies. So that after that, you are exposed or infected with that kind of disease, you already have the soldiers of your body to fight that infection. And are these vaccines safe and effective? As per Food and Drug Administration Philippines, these vaccines are given emergency use and your Sinopharm. Other vaccines that use this technology include your hepatitis A vaccine, your polio vaccine, your rabies vaccine. The second one, the mRNA or the RNA, the one that is used by Pfizer and Moderna vaccine, this is very new. No commercially available vaccine that uses this kind of technology. The third one, the non-replicating viral vector, this is for your AstraZeneca and your Sputnik 5. And the last one, the protein subunit, the Novavax vaccine. Bottom line, James, these vaccines, when put to your body or inoculated into your body, it will create an immune response producing antibodies. Right? Now, there are different types of vaccines that warrants different preparations and different kinds of vaccines that may include different kinds of side effects. So it depends on the vaccine and it depends on the person on what type of side effects you're going to have. But commonly encountered side effects, especially when you are vaccinated, there's pain, there's redness, and the systemic side effects include fever, myalgia, fatigue, diarrhea, so on and so forth. Just like any other vaccines, normally you will receive this kind of side effects.
So what I'm understanding here, thank you very much, Doc. What I'm understanding here, there's several vaccines available. There's 3 that you mentioned, and they're taking 2 different approaches for the same thing. Maybe you could help shed a little bit of light on that.
Oh, yun, lalo na Doc, yung at saka yung sa rabies.
Yes,
Pare-pareho ang gamit.
Yes.
Ito yung katulad ng Sinovac. So, anong difference yung dalawa?
Yung difference po niyan, sa Sinovac and Sinopharm, ginagamit po natin yan, inactivated virus. Kumbaga, weakened or inactivated, patay na virus, na ilalagay mo sa iyong katawan. And then, magre-react kayo ng katawan mo, magkakaroon ng antibody, the antigen formation, and then eventually, it will trigger an immune response, antibodies. Ito naman po sa mRNA, ito naman po ay part ng genetic material. Yung mRNA na ito, magagamit po dito yung tinatawag na spike proteins ng ating coronavirus na mag-a-adhere sa ating cell, magiging antigen siya, it will trigger an immune response. So basically po, pareho silang foreign material, foreign body, foreign molecule na ipinasok sa katawan na nag-trigger ng immune response. Magkaiba lamang po yung component nila.
So 2 different approaches. I think you used the word North Pole, South Pole, because they're completely opposite. Can I ask you a personal question? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
No, it's okay.
if you're going to take the vac, which you are, you told me you would, do you have a personal preference? What would you take?
Well, as of this moment, with our situation, what matter most, on top of the brands, no, o yung concern na brands, what matter most today is ano yung available at ano yung itinalaga ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno na isinaad na ito'y ligtas gamitin. Kasi ang tanging importanteng malaman ng tao, whether it is Sinovac, Sinopharm, Sputnik, Novavax, AstraZeneca, and Pfizer, are yung ito ba ay ligtas? Kasi yun ang unang dapat tanong natin. Yun ang importante malaman natin. So kung ligtas, pwedeng gamitin. Now, the second question, anong efficiency ba ang gusto nating efficacy ba ang gusto nating makamit? Sa market, mayroong 50%, may 72, may 74, may 92, and 94% efficacy based on data available. Official data available. Sa akin, ang personal choice ko is kung may available ngayon, magpapaturok ako.
Okay.
Kasi, again, I'll go back to the same principle. Anything above 0 is positive. Because as of the moment, tayong tatlo rito, I hope you don't mind as long as you wear your mask, no? From time to time, gaganunin ko naman. Dito, tayong tatlo, 100% exposed. At yung kung sasakyan ko yung sinasabi ni Doc at sa ating mga manonood, no, na kapag walang bakuna, maaari tayong mapunta pag tayo na impeksyon, maaari tayong mapunta sa severe situation, which is yun yung pinakadelikado na portion. Ay ngayon, yung baka nagtatanong yung ating mga manonood, sabi ni Doc kanina, nagbakuna na ako, pwede pa ako mahawa ng COVID. Opo, posible pa po. Kaya kailangan pag nagbakuna tayo, James, susuot pa rin natin yung mask natin, mag-iingat pa rin tayo sa physical distancing. Pero dahil tayo may bakuna na, katulad na sinabi ni Doc, in layman's term, meron na tayong panlaban sa katawan. So, mamimili ka na lang, yung synthetic o yung organic. Yan naman ang choices na ibinibigay ko namang malaya sa tao. Pwede sila maghintay kung di nila type yung nauna. Pero ang ako lagi, pag tinatanong ako lagi, basta sinertipikahan ng FDA na ito ay ligtas gamitin, ipatutusok ko sa akin. At hihikayatin ko ang marami na magpatusok din. Hindi ko pipilitin, hihikayatin ko. Kasi, Doc, di ba may mga ibang bansa, alam mo James, may mga ibang bansa, nung nag-deploy ng bakuna, up to 94% ang drop ng infection rate nila. So it helps.
You mentioned
It helps
Israel.
eventually.
I think it's, I mean, I love what the point you made, and I think that should be hammered in, because we even have this saying in photography when they say, what's the best camera to have? It's the one in your hand, because you'll miss the shot otherwise. Doesn't
Yes.
matter anymore. You
Yes.
don't have a camera, you're not taking the shot. So the same with the
Yes.
vaccine. It's what's available, but I think it should be also reminded to the city, especially residents of the city of Manila, nobody's being forced to take either
Yes.
vaccine or to take a certain type of vaccine. But I think they should also know that while the city of Manila will not impose restrictions, if you do want to travel, you can be pretty sure they're going to ask for your vaccination.
Exactly.
Nice.
So they're going to...
Yun. Alam mo, maganda yung point ni James, no, mga kababayan na manonood. Darating ang oras, ang takdang oras, baka i-require na kayo ng mga pupuntahan ninyong bansa o lugar. Kasi ngayon, hindi pa nire-require na bakunado ka. Kasi wala pang bakuna. Pero baka dumating ang oras, i-require ka na, ito, tourism pa lang itong pinag-uusapan natin, or important matters that you need to attend to, whether sa ilang isla sa bansa o sa ibang bansa, na baka kailangan kang bakunado. Virus, no? Kaya yun yung mga dapat pag-isipan ng ating mga kababayan in terms of decision making later on with regard to our choices na gagawin.
Okay, Doc, I'll pose a question to both of you, because I know that you don't like to blow your own trumpet, as they say, but it has to be said that the city of Manila did do a simulation, and they did do vaccination for, it was hepatitis, was it polio? Where you did 140.
Tigdas.
Okay, 140,000 people were
Yeah.
vaccinated. That was your target, right?
That was our target.
So you did 95% of that. Is that the highest among cities in the Philippines?
Yep.
Okay, so the highest at 95, and I think the closest was 90%, and everyone else was somewhere around the 60 plus. So modesty aside, to use your term, I just wanted to point this out, because what can we learn from this template? Is this template a template you could use for COVID?
Most probably, sir, it will be the template, right? Because since before we did also our oral polio vaccination, and we did hit 110%. And now this measles rubella vaccination, we still have a week to go. We already hit 96%. Probably at the end of the day, we'll hit 98%. So I think it's also going to be a template for us in giving these COVID-19 vaccines.
On top of your ginawa nating small simulation
Yes.
and large simulation,
Yes.
community-based,
Yes.
para sa COVID-19. So
Yes.
parang ito lumalabas, James, live simulation. Actual na to.
Exactly. So you're allowing how many minutes, or what did you learn from your simulation?
For the simulation exercises, if you are pre-registered with the Manila COVID vaccination app, it took you 6 to 10 minutes on average. And for those who are not pre-registered, the walk-in clients, it took them 15 to 25 minutes on an average.
So assuming we're working with those figures, how long do you think before we can get everyone vaccinated in the city of Manila? What's the time frame for that realistically?
Yung goal natin is to come up with 18 simultaneous sites. At per site 1,000 times 7 days a week and 30 days a month. Kasi ang gagawin natin, James, once the opportunity dumating, which is yung bakuna, will not waste single hour or day not to go and deploy vaccination. So, kailangan natin magbakuna 30 days. So, if that is, kung yun yung math at na-perfect natin, 18,000 times 30 days, that's 540,000 people in 1 month. And that's another 540 in after 21 days or 28 days, which is doable kasi niliitan namin yung capacity ng isang site. Pero dinamihan naman namin yung sites of vaccination, which is most likely mga school ground.
May I just...
Nagkaroon ng doubt ang ating mga kababayan dahil doon sa nangyaring isang bakuna na medyo nagkaroon ng masamang impresyon ang mamamayan, which nobody can blame the people dahil nga sa takot. Pangalawa, yung mga misinformation about existing vaccines all over the world. So that's another challenge. But in Manila, at the rate we're going, 89,000 pre-registered. So there is enough numbers that we can, our future customer. But they can always change their mind. As I have said, pwede magbago isip. The same manner with non-registrants. Baka mamaya kasi, alam mo James, meron tayo sa Pilipinas, alam mo yung word of mouth?
Oo.
Yun. Na, ay, nabakunahan yung kumpare niya. At nakita niya hindi naman bumula yung bibig. O katulad ko, alam mo, binakunahan ako. Et mukhang okay naman. So it may affect, it may vary later on kung how it's going to roll, yung mabili, yung peace of mind ng tao. So I think a lot of people, especially our viewers now with TikTok, are really into it, pero wait and see.
They're waiting for you. They want to see you get jabbed.
If that is what it takes to convince, no, I will do the same. So yung kalahati ng pangamba mo, will shoulder it also para lang napapanatag ka kahit papaano.
Okay, well, let's take some reader questions because we got a bunch here. And I know,
Sure.
I know how much you like
Mas
to-
maganda yung mga nagtatanong na utaw.
Oo nga.
Nanonood.
It's every time we watch any of Mayor's lives, he's always prefers to deal with directly with the questions. Now, with the registration, the pre-registered of 86,000 that you mentioned, it ties in with this question from I am Jaja Ramirez, who says, are there any measures to convince people who are afraid of the vaccine? How did the City of Manila encourage its residents to participate in that program of 86,000? Maybe that answers the question.
Okay, I think it's more on talking to the people. Like, kaya kami nagpapasalamat sa TikTok today because this is a new set of audience. Maybe some of them are also in Facebook or maybe in YouTube, but TikTok, because of its demographics at yung marami talagang Pilipino, if we can use this type of outlet, no, malaking bagay kasi yung tao directly makatatanong sa amin, no, yung sa aming regular capital report. Minsan, si Doc Poc, sinasama ko sa capital report. So, we keep on updating. I think the challenge is, people in government, like us, and even in the national, continue to engage with people. Kasi, alam mo yung from the horse's mouth, kailangan dun marinig ng tao eh. Hindi yung sa kapitbahay lang niya, o sa post sa may post. Kasi, ang pinakamabisa ngayon, yung factual na impormasyon ang makuha ng utaw.
And like Mayor said, which we can't stress enough, there's a lot of misinformation out there. This is why we're making this effort through our partners with TikTok to make sure that you get reliable information. This question you kind of answered, so I'll just read it, but don't feel the need to answer because it's already answered from Village People, who says, how do you plan to communicate the safety and efficacy of vaccines, which has been answered. And Shine Cyrus says, will you still be infected? Perhaps Doc can answer this one.
Yeah.
Will you and can you still be infected after you get the vaccine? What do you recommend most?
Yan, magandang tanong.
After vaccination, you receive the vaccinator, you may still be. You may still be infected with the COVID-19 virus. That's why, like what the mayor said, tuloy-tuloy pa rin po dapat ang ating pag-iingat, like physical distancing, wearing of mask. It's not a guarantee.
But anong benepisyo sa tao
Yes,
na kapag nabakunahan
Pag
siya?
nabakunahan ka na, maganda doon, you will be protected and from having a severe form
There you go.
of COVID-19 infection.
If you look at our flu vaccines, isn't it similar?
Yeah.
Aren't we? I mean, we still have the flu after how many? We can't eradicate it after hundreds and
Yes,
hundreds of
that's right,
years.
That's right.
But when you get the flu, it's maybe 2 days off work, and that's it. There's no ventilators. There's no. It's rarely that you're going to get to that stage. So that's what we're hoping the vaccine brings us to.
Yes.
Is a manageable state
Yes.
where if you still get infected because it's not 100%,
Yes.
it will be a far milder and more manageable version of it.
Kumbaga, kapag ka nabakunado na lahat, parang magiging regular flu na lang si COVID-19 o si SARS-CoV-2. Kasi dati talaga ang flu nakamamatay.
Opo.
Because of the vaccination, nakalaban ng tao. So ngayon, tama ka James, no? Gusto ko yung sinabi mo na nagka-flu ka, mababakasyon ka lang ng 1-2 araw at hindi ka kinakabahan. In fact, iinom ka lang ng vitamin C and all other things, plus gamot, okay ka na ulit. So yun yung gusto natin ma-achieve in the future.
Yes.
That if everybody is going to be vaccinated, most likely we are protected.
And let's not also forget the good habits that we picked up. I mean, when you go to Japan, especially pre-COVID, you would still see people wearing masks on the subway everywhere. I mean, it was very common, diba? This was a hangover of SARS and MERS, etc. They kept the lifestyle. They kept up their vigilant all the way because they realized that in public places, with or without a vaccine, this still helps. Not just COVID, but there are many other things that this will help. Wiping
Yes.
down your surfaces, etc., washing your hands. These are good habits to get into, no matter if there's a pandemic or not. Okay, April Plong asks, how can TikTok help in encouraging people to get the vaccine or support other government initiatives? You wait for Mayor Isko's dance later. That's to your question. Here, perhaps you want to take a stab at that.
Paano daw?
How will TikTok help in encouraging people to get the vaccine
Okay.
or support government themselves?
Ang maganda kasi sa TikTok, in a few seconds, you can use that as an outlet, like government, no? Na hindi hard sell. Na pwede kang, for example, yung kanina idea ni James, no? Yung gagawa ka ng action na shot, para kang umiinom sa bar, pero you're gonna do the vaccination. Because it has to be in a form of entertaining, at the same time you can learn.
Yes.
So mabilis CQ time na nakalabas yung mga stress. So people are into it. So why not use it as a government, as a form of communication? And there are things that pwede ma-address through utilizing a 60-seconder content, no? Or 15-seconder content.
As a little side note, I started my TikTok account because of Mayor Isko. that's the truth, because I, like many of you, probably when you first joined TikTok, weren't sure about the platform being, is this a serious platform? Everyone's dancing. But when I saw Mayor on the platform still be funny but credible, I thought you can manage to achieve that. So, April, stick around because we are
Doktor sa TikTok, kung talagang meron silang valid information and they believe that this particular vaccine is good, makakatulong ang mga TikTokers. No, yung mga medical professionals na pwede nilang magamit to as to inspire others. Kasi alam mo, at the end of the day, this is a universal problem. Ito nga, ang malungkot dito, walang boundary itong problema na to. Hindi pa pwedeng ligtas sila, tayo hindi, lahat apektado. So I think a lot of TikTokers, medical professional can use this and help us or help the government to really inspire others to submit themselves into vaccination.
Just remember in almost everything that awareness is already half the battle. So if you can help us with awareness by just using the hashtag, and if you can make your own little dance or your own little skit or something like that, maybe a song, anything to help spread the message, you're helping your fellow Filipinos, which is also helping you, because we need to do this as a community. It's something, it's like, there's no benefit if it's just one part of society that does. It's like having one fax machine. There's no point, and it doesn't work. Okay, we've got some more questions I'd like to get through here, and it's great to see you all interacting with us. Thank you for that. Stereo Heart 82 says, allowed pa ba yung diabetics to take the vaccine?
Oh, yeah, that's a very nice question, no? This particular, if I may, no, this particular kind of vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, there are certain precautions needed, right? So for those, meron po dyan yung una, do not vaccinate, sabi niya, if you are 16 years old and below for that particular product.
Okay.
Do not vaccinate if you have allergies to the component of the vaccine, like polyethylene glycol and polysorbate. Do not vaccinate if after the first dose of the vaccine, you had severe allergic reactions. And then defer if you have symptoms. Defer if you are exposed to COVID vaccine or COVID infection. Defer if you have last COVID infection for the last 90 days. Defer if you are a healthcare worker pregnant for the first 3 months, right? And then you need to ask special precautions. You need to ask permit or permission from your attending physician if you need to get clearance if you have any autoimmune diseases. What are these? Type 1 diabetes,
Oh.
Graves disease. You
HIV.
need to get clearance. HIV, cancer, transplant. You need to get clearance from your physician. And you have to have special precautions if you have allergies to medicines, if you have allergies to food, if you have asthma, and if you are with bleeding disorders. Okay?
Yan, kita mo yan, James, oh. Yan.
Ulcers.
Listening to this, these are the information that our people
Yes.
needed.
Yes.
Kasi maraming mga manonood, no, whether Facebook, YouTube, or general television, na meron silang worry. At yung worry nila nakakadagdag sa demographics ng mga nagwo-worry. Wherein, kung specific ang pag-address ng pamahalaan, like yung kung paano i-define as soon as possible, I think mas maraming may inspire na magpabakuna at mas maraming well-informed na individual to maging komportable sila. Ay, hindi pala ako kasama dapat bakunahan.
And this is precisely why this is being scheduled today, the way it is being scheduled, and with our partners TikTok, is to get this information out to you. We want this to go out as far as it can, and this ties in again with our next question from Business Mirror. It's Aldwin of Business Mirror who asks, it's been asked before, but maybe you can throw another idea that we haven't heard. How else can the public join the campaign and show support?
One, of course, is listen to this kind of platforms, and then ask the healthcare workers if they have any misconceptions, and then try to join some more simulation exercises for them to feel the experience, and of course through social media, and then information dissemination campaign.
Or their experience if they get vaccinated
Yes,
already. Alam mo,
yes,
wow,
yes.
to share it.
nabakunahan na kayo. Wala sigurong masama kung halimbawa, ako po nilagnat, ang ginamit ko pong brand ay ganito.
Tama.
Ako po yung nagka-skin allergy, ang ginamit ko pong brand ay ganito. Pero ako po ay okay. At natapos ko po yung cycle. So, walang masama na i-share natin yung ating mga personal experience, not only to our family, but also to our community. Like, for example, nowadays naman lahat halos may Facebook and marami ng demographics ang involved sa TikTok, no? And YouTube. Pag nasi-share natin yan, nag-guide din natin yung iba. So, nakakatulong ka bilang mamamayan. You're now part of the solution.
Just always remember and always make sure that what you're sharing is actually reliable and accurate information, because then you don't want to be part of the problem. You always want to be
Yes.
part of the solution, and this is something that's very, very serious. So we want your help with this. So thank you for that. If you have any more questions, they're coming through here, and we have a team here who are just taking them down because ang bilis, Mayor. Ang dami.
Oh.
Pero all the questions are asking when you're gonna dance. So put that to the side
Yun na lang muna. Hinahanap nila sa'yo ko yun. Nasa That's Entertainment ako eh. That was, 25 years ago.
You're revealing our age. Okay, where else can we, looks like we've got, I want to make sure I get everybody's question in here. What are the efforts in making vaccines affordable and accessible to people? And just before you answer that,
That's a
I
good
know a lot of
question.
people know this, I know you've said this many times, but this is free of charge to the city, to the residents of the city of
Okay.
Manila, the Philippines.
Two things, no? Acquisition of vaccine is through national government and local government. Okay? No, yung dalawa siya. So, sa amin, ang bakunang nabili namin ay libre. Na makukuha ni naman. When we say ni naman, mag-start sa Manila at kung may sobra kami, aakapin namin hanggat kaya namin akapin yung ibang hindi taga Manila. I think the national government through the directives made by President Duterte, it's going to be made available also for free. So far, as we speak, yung makukuha ng national government at makukuha ng local government ay parehong libreng makukuha ng tao. Now, I don't know, later on, kung yung ibang institution like mga hospital, na private hospital, when they are going to be allowed to acquire, kung yung ba ibibigay na libre. That's another story. But ang guarantee natin, James, sa Maynila, libre ang bakuna. Libre. At libre nga swab eh. Awa ng Diyos eh. Mas mahal ang swab. Dahil ilang bulig ang halaga ng swab. Pero, pero lagi namin binibigay ng libre just to give peace of mind sa tao. Tapos, ito pa kayang bakuna. We will try to make it available for free and make it available na accessible.
And yeah, we have another question here from, if Sinovac comes first. This is coming from John Marung. I can't pronounce. I need my glasses. If Sinovac comes first, who will be vaccinated in Manila, given it's not suitable for health workers?
Yeah, that's a good question, no? Kung ang diniklara, kaya nga importante talaga na maniwala tayo sa sistema. Kasi yung sistema magbibigay ng certainty, no? Halimbawa, katulad niyan, kung yung question is already a fact, na hindi to nire-recommenda sa medical frontliners. Now, teka muna, kung yan hindi pwede sa medical frontliners at nandito na siya sa ating bansa, saan natin pwede gamitin? Ako, ang mapapayo ko ay yung paano itulak yung ekonomiya. So, I'll make it available to economic drivers of our country. Kasi nandiyan yung bakuna eh. So, ano ba yung economic drivers? Let's just name a few sectors. Mga drivers, those people who are rendering service na may physical interaction. Tapos yung ating mga nagtitinda sa palengke na may marami ring interaction. This will help boost the confidence for the consumer to go to the mall because, alimbawa, let's just say, hindi pa naman ito specific, pero ito yung point of view ko lang, na pagpupunta ako sa mall, kampante ako na yung mga nagsiservice doon, bakunado. Di ba? Tapos, kung sasakay ako ng jeep, hindi na ako kakabahan dahil yung driver, bakunado. Kung ako na may pupunta sa palengke, hindi ako kakabahan na uuwi ako, may virus, kasi yung nagtitinda sa palengke, bakunado. So, lahat na nagtatrabaho as our drivers for the economy, because we really have to address economy nowadays, James.
Yes.
More than the health, di ba? Yung health, no issue. Talagang kailangan natin tutukan yun. No-brainer yun. Kailangan natin gawin yun. Pero meron tayo isang nadidisgrasya, which is yung ekonomiya. So, we have to balance this. Buhay at kabuhayan. So, if Sinovac is available, kung ako'y papayagan, ako magpapabakuna ako Sinovac. Mapakampante ko lang yung tao.
What made you change your mind? Because at one point you were on the fence with Sinovac.
That's a good question. When President Widodo had himself vaccinated using Sinovac, and the British, the Turkish government also did the same, and some countries in the world doing Sinovac, then why not? So, unlike kasi yung isang product dati na kinatakutan ng tao, tayo yung nauna eh.
Okay.
Ito hindi tayo nauna eh. Sinubukan na sa mundo. At yung iba dito ay neighboring countries natin and a country of good reference. Especially sa ating mga Muslim brothers and sisters, yung Sinovac was declared now as halal.
Okay.
Halal product.
So, there's such a thing pala with vaccine.
Yeah, importante yun. Bakit? Sa Manila, sa kasaysayan ng Manila, akala kasi natin ng mga Muslim sa Mindanao lang. In fact, more than the Mindanao, it's Manila. Our forefathers is Lacans, Raso Lima, Ramatanda, Lacandula, and so on and so forth. At marami kaming Muslim community sa Manila, sa Quiapo, Port Area, sa Parola, sa Baseco, sa San Andres, and San Miguel. So, these are our brothers, Muslim and sisters, na itong produktong to, halal. And when we say halal, this is a preference by our Muslim brothers and sisters, which is good kasi there is a demographics in the city of Manila na pwedeng, kung gusto nila, mabakunahan sila. So, yan yung mga bagay na, okay, sumunod sila sa layunin, alituntunin, which is in this case, yung Sinovac na nabanggit, at nasertipikahan ang ating mga ahensya ng gobyerno. So, we'll listen to the system. We will believe in the system. It may not be a perfect system, but we must continue to believe as a general population sa sistema.
And also, the point of with Widodo, President Widodo.
Widodo.
I mean, there were some, there are political issues with
Oo,
what he
oo.
was, well, what you're saying, you're on the strength of him able to put to the one side.
Actually, ang ganda ng observation ni James, no?
Yeah.
Alam mo, may insidente ang Indonesia at China. Lagi. At si President Widodo was really tough on protecting that issue, no? But he set aside everything. What mattered most to him, I think, having himself vaccinated and his people, is the safety and the general welfare, health-wise, nung kanyang mga nasasakupan.
Okay, well, like we said before, we're not here to sell a particular product.
No. Yun lang, particularly sa sino ba?
We're giving examples.
Basta tayo, ganun pa rin tayo, James. Dumating ang Pfizer bukas, tirahin natin.
Oo.
Dumating ang AstraZeneca bukas, tirahin natin. Dumating ang Sinovac bukas, tirahin natin. So sa akin, either way.
Okay.
Sa akin, kung sino mauna, I think it's high time, dahil nakakatulo na ng laway, James. Bangladesh, Myanmar, Africa, you know, meron na sila, kasama na sila doon sa 200 million na nagbabakuna. So, hindi naman tayo nagmamadali, pero real talk tayo. Ba't sila, nagagawa na nila, I think magawa rin naman dapat natin. And I believe that the national government is doing their best. But it has to come, it has to start soon. We have to
Very good.
deploy.
Now, Mayor, you mentioned the economy being just as important now. You know, healthcare is a no-brainer. Economy, at some point, if we don't give it that same attention, tagilid din tayo. We're also going to be affected. Now, with vaccines, there's also testing. We haven't really spent any time on testing. I know the focus today is on vaccine, but will you be introducing saliva testing? Will that become
Okay.
more affordable, more available?
Okay.
Kasi ang sakit yung swab. You know, ang joke ko, Mayor, parang they're changing your mind manually. Alam mo yun? Yan ang feeling.
Alam mo ako, James, siguro 7 or 8 times na ako na-exposed. The recent was last week, no? I got tested again. Salamat sa Diyos. Ako na may negatibo. But there is what you call world standard. And we in the city of Manila, in our own little way, continue to follow the world standard. Which is in this case, ang sinasabi ng World Health Organization at saka DOH, ang swab, RT-PCR pa rin, is the gold standard of testing. Ang good news lang naman
Okay.
sa amin,
Sana
James,
naman may konting
libre.
Okay.
At mabilis. Mabilis namin, unlike in the early times, it takes you about 5 or 7 days to be informed.
Oo.
Kami ang garantiya namin, within 24 hours, you will be informed. Whether you're positive, if you're negative, at least we give you peace of mind. Parang
True.
as soon as possible. At sa awa ng Diyos, James, we have not reached our maximum capacity to test with our 3 machines, 2 laboratories. That's why we went beyond. That's why may drive-through. So any John Does and Mary who are not suspected or probable. Kasi these are the categories for you to be submitted in the testing. So this is just, wala lang. Gusto kong pumasyal sa Bataan. Pwede ako magpa-test, TY, sa Manila. Laway-laway lang. Gusto kong umuwi sa probinsya. Kailangan mo magpa-test. TY, laway-laway lang sa Manila. Punta ka lang sa kailangan ko sa trabaho, magpa-test. At alam mo, it costs you about easily 1,600 o 2,000 pesos. Sa ilang buwan ka nang walang trabaho, wala kang tsapi, wala kang pera. Tapos biglang tosgas ka na naman. So, kung yun naman lang maibigay ko sa iyo as a matter of services, then we will give it. And also, dun sa mga may kaya sa buhay, wala lang. Daan ka lang. Gusto mong peace of mind. Napakamahal na peace of mind to. Nyanyanga ka lang. Tusok. Yun nga lang. Maganda na kayo. Atsing kayo ng atsing.
Okay, we have a question. This has also been addressed, but I think it's an important enough question that just in case we have new viewers, we can make it banggit again. Leia Real says, ano pong gagawin pag makaramdam ng side effects? Okay ba yung Tagalog ko, Mayor?
Side effects. Oo.
Okay lang, okay.
Oo.
Kasi,
Okay lang ba English ko? Filipino grammar. I have bad English grammar.
walang vaccine sa atin.
Sana may vaccine sa dila, no?
So, ano pong gagawin kung may Oh,
If
now,
you-
now, na-intimidate ako.
Yeah, yeah.
Makaramdam ng symptoms.
Oh, yan, Doc.
Yes,
Yan.
yes.
oh,
If
si
you
Doc.
receive any untoward side effects, of course, immediately consult your healthcare provider, no? Pwede po kayong pumunta sa aming mga health centers, or better yet, meron po kaming inulunsad na Manila COVID Vaccination Action Center, at open na po yan. Siguro po ipa-flash na lang namin yung hotlines namin. Lahat po ng queries nyo, everything about COVID-19 vaccination, yung mga haka-haka ninyo, agam-agam ninyo, yung mga pagiging skeptical or pessimistic po ninyo, mga katanungan ninyo, everything about COVID-19, pwede po kayong tumawag sa aming MCBAC.
And remember, it's hashtag vaccine alamin. If you want to join the conversation online, just use that hashtag. Also, it helps collate the information, because by using that hashtag, anyone that clicks on that will see your post, will see all that information collated in one spot. We're running a little short on time, but I want to make sure we cover everything. Mayor, I know you're extremely proud of this, so I'm going to bring it up. You have a new wonderful hospital that you're going to finish, I think, next year. Did I
Yeah.
get that right? On the podcast, you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's 7th floor na yata, no?
What role will that play
with
this COVID?
Malaki. Una, bago mag-pandemic, ang pangarap namin talaga is to elevate. Naalala ko tuloy, hindi ko masabi. Elevate the pit. Si ano yun? Si Filipino, ano? You elevate the pit! Anyway, to really
Okay.
elevate yung health standard through public services, public hospital. Talagang mapataas yung standard. And we really wanted to compete with like St. Luke's or Makati Med, Medical City. These are Asian hospital and other private hospitals. If a person, yung may kakayanan sa buhay, can have a high quality of medical and health care, I think any John Doe's and Mary, mahirap, middle class, mayaman, deserve the same thing. No? Kaya yung talagang yung bagong ospital ng Maynila, it's a fully air conditioned and no second-hand equipment will be put in that hospital. All brand new, and medyo in-upscale namin ng konti yung mga brand and particularly the equipment, and hopefully that will help and achieve our goal, basically yung elevate the pit, elevate the healthcare system. But ang laking bagay nito sa COVID-19 because most of the rooms are now more on yung wards, medyo private siya. So, malaking kapanatagan na mabibigay at yung quality of healthcare mapapataas natin. Hopefully, ma-achieve yun. And I think it's doable. And what they're doing in BGC, in St. Luke's and Makati Med, MCM, and all other private, is also duplicable. Diba? Wag na lang yung MEMA gawa lang. This is really our dream and aspiration. As also being a poor child, when I was submitted to public healthcare system at the time, at din experience ang ating mga kababayan.